Good morning. Hey, you guys. I'm sitting. I'm sitting in the forest. It's beautiful. Um, Sitting in the forest. I've been on a little camping trip with my daughter, with Emily and her twins, Zoe and Roy, and Linda. Linda and I used to bring the kids here years and years and years ago, and when Emily was a little girl, and it's quite something to be back at this spot camping, and 35 years later, hi, good morning. It's really quite something. Linda's husband, Bruce, who's a beautiful, beautiful man, went home yesterday because he had to work today. So, yeah, isn't it funny how life spins and how staying open-hearted allows, even though families change shape, we're always still in a relationship. And my commitment, I've been married a couple of times, and my commitment was to always continue to love the beautiful women who, you know, picked me to have children with, picked me to be the dad on the other side. So, thank you, Trish. So I'm very grateful to be here today and wake up in a tent, and Linda and Roy, my little 6-year-old grandson, were sleeping in the motorhome, and Emily and Zoe were sleeping in another tent, and pretty nice to wake up this morning and be surrounded by family. And we sat this morning, my daughter did her readings, and she read from 3 books, Daily Reflections. She read from an Al-Anon book, and also from another book, and I read from the 24-hour day book, and as we sat with her mom and did our readings together, it was beautiful. And one of the things in the Al-Anon book it talked about is, where do we draw the line in helping others and meddling? And I recognize that can easily happen, especially if we're not well ourselves, or we're trying to change somebody, and good luck with that, so yes, we're here to serve, and we're here to help, and we're here to love, and we're here to listen, to people that we care about and that we're in service to, but more with an eye towards just being there for them. Love heals, and love is a verb. Love is an action word, I believe, and so when we're actively listening, we're actively being present with people, they feel it, and our presence is healing because it doesn't want anything. It isn't looking for anything. It doesn't need anything. We're just being with them in their journey as part of their cheering team, part of their I see myself as a support in people's lives, even if sometimes it doesn't seem to me that they're going in the direction that's going to be healthy. It's not up to me to decide that. It's not my journey, it's their journey. My job is to be there and to love them, and to help out when I can, without enabling, without making them wrong, without saying you should. So just to be there and listen and to care, and people get that. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing and then there's a difference between an idea of me first which can come from ego, and looking after ourselves so that we can be more present with others, looking after ourselves so that we have actually something to give, and taking care of ourselves with meditation, taking care of ourselves with even proper diet and exercise, and yeah, time in the woods, time with family, beautiful. So that's my message for the day. When we pray, we ask the divinity, God, universal intelligence, to be directed towards who can I help. That's, people will appear. A thought will come, call so and so, and just to say hi, and follow those thoughts, follow those intuitions. Often in the 12-step world, fellows will say to me, how do I find a sponsee? I need to, because the 12th step is that we give it away, and we need to find sponsees, or, we need to be a sponsee, but we also need to be a sponsor. And how do I find them? And I always say, pray. Ask God to send you somebody to help. And because who better to decide, what's best for us and for somebody else. And remember, when somebody appears, they may be coming with a lesson for us. They may be coming with, the gift of helping us see ourselves. So always recognize that, when we're sharing with somebody else, or we're being there for somebody else, that they're an extension of us, and we see ourselves. So prayer, just asking for, okay, who would you have me to serve now? God, I offer myself to thee, to be with me, build with me, and do with me as thou wilt. Relieve me the bondage of self, that I may better do thy will. Take away my difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those I would help, of thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. That's the 3rd step prayer. But there's just, just a simple prayer. God, send me somebody to help. And it works. It works. Okay, I'm going to do the reading. My little book is getting beat up. I'm going to have to find a new little book. I think I want to save this one. I love this little book, but it is getting beat up a bit. It wasn't prepared for the camping trip. August 19th, thought for the day. It says, people of faith have a logical idea of what life is all about. Yes. There is a wide variation in the way which each one of us approaches and conceives of the power greater than himself or herself. Whether we agree with a particular approach or conception seems to make little difference. So we don't have to agree on this God business. We have to agree on any concept of God. Your concept, whatever it is, however limiting, however, as long as we're looking at a power greater than ourselves. Our concepts are matter little. These are questions for each individual to settle for himself. But in each case, the belief in a higher power has accomplished the miraculous, the humanly impossible. There has come a revolutionary change in our way of living and thinking. So that's right out of the big book. It's beautiful, right out of the big book. The question from the thought for the day, has there been a revolutionary change in me? Yes. Beautiful. Meditation for the day. Worship is consciousness of God's divine majesty. Isn't that interesting? A definition for worship. Worship is consciousness of God's divine majesty. As we pause to worship or become conscious, right? God will help us to rise our humility to his divinity. Amazing. So as we look towards the majesty of God, we move towards him. It says that God will rise our humanity, to his divinity. The earth, it says, is a material temple to enclose God's divinity. A material temple to enclose God's divinity. So everywhere is church. Everywhere is divinity. Everywhere is the temple. That's beautiful. God brings to those who worship him a divine power, a divine love, and a divine healing. Beautiful. You only have to open your mind to him and to absorb. You only have to open your mind to him and to absorb some of his divine spirit. Pausing quietly in the spirit of worship or the spirit of consciousness, turn your inward thoughts upward and realize that his divine power may be yours, that his divine power is yours, and that you can experience his love and his healing, the healing of divinity. Beautiful. And prayer for the day. I pray that I may worship or be conscious of God. I worship or be conscious of God by sensing the eternal spirit. I pray that I may experience a new power in my life. Beautiful. This is from a little book that was written in 1954. It's called a 24-hour day book. And most of it's out of the 12 steps, or out of the big book of AA. And the 12 steps is so amazing. Can be used for everything. Everything. Many of people in recovery also have been diagnosed with, bipolar and borderline, other types of mental illness, and recovery from different types of mental illness, or at least being lifted up out of those mental illnesses happens in the 12 steps. It does, and we see it all the time. So there is no situation on this earth that love cannot heal. And this program, the 12-step program, according to Dr. David Hawkins, I don't know if you remember Hawkins, we've talked about him lots, but Hawkins wrote Power versus Force, and his last book was called Letting Go, and he developed a scale. And the scale went from kind of 0, which was down really low in the lower realms of guilt and shame and fear and anger, all the way up into Christ consciousness. So from kind of 0 to 1,000, which was Christ consciousness. And he said that the two spiritual teachings on the planet that were the highest spiritual teachings, the most inclusive, open spiritual teachings, were Tibetan Buddhism and the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, which vibrated in the mid-500s at unconditional love. So it's the unconditional love that does the healing. And love is a higher power. And so those steps are actually vibrate very high. And as you work those steps, you are lifted up into that vibration of unconditional love. Yeah, no expectations. Fear disappears. At unconditional love, we intuitively know we're living in acceptance. Not trying to change things. We're just being with. It's beautiful. So, thank you. Thank you so much. I just love you guys. And thanks for, staying with us. And what did I want to say? YouTube. Love it if you go and subscribe to us on YouTube. And, just take a few minutes today to check in who needs to hear from you. Not with advice, just with love. Love and listening. Yeah. Give them a call and share your love with them. Okay. Remember, we are surrounded by people who are doing their very best. And just encouragement helps them to see themselves and let them share. Okay. Bye, you guys. Talk to you soon. Okay, Jason. Love you, brother. Talk to you soon.